Good morning, my lovelies. So this is a video lecture on the ballad, and I hope that it will be helpful in writing your own. So first things first, I want to go through the demands of your own ballad that you're going to write. So this will be added on to your poetry portfolio. You have already written 3 limericks. You have already written 5 haiku. The next thing you're going to do is write 1 ballad. Okay? And the kicker is that this 1 ballad has to have 4 stanzas. Okay? So if you have 4 lines, that does not mean that your ballad is done. In fact, it means that only 25% of your ballad is done. I'm going to give you 2 AMI days to work on this, to email me if you need help, want me to take a look at something, to kind of help you out, what have you, because it's probably the most difficult poem that we write. And the reason is that there's a very strict syllable count and a very strict rhyme scheme, and that goes as follows. You've got 4 lines. Okay. And so for line 1, you've got 8 syllables. Line 2, you've got 6. Line 3, you've got 8. Line 4, you've got 6. And then this form will repeat 4 times for your 4 stanzas. So you're going to wind up with 16 lines. If you only have 4 lines, then you only have 1 stanza. That's the biggest mistake I see people make, is they think they finish the ballad, and then I'm like, okay, write 3 more stanzas, and it's soul-crushing for them, so I'm telling you up front, you gotta have 16 lines. Okay? So syllable count, 8-6, 8-6, it's gonna be long, short, long, short. The rhyme scheme typically is A-B, A-B, and there is some variation in that rhyme scheme, so the 3rd line can be a C, if you need it to be a C. Personally, I think it's easier to have an A-B-C-B rhyme scheme than an A-B-A-B rhyme scheme. So if you want a challenge, go A-B-A-B. If you want to get it done, then A-B-C-B will also be fine. Okay? Just whatever your ballad demands. The only other real requirement of a ballad is that it tells a story. It is a narrative poem. Okay? Poem. So something's gonna happen. Okay. So I have here an example of 2 stanzas that I want to kind of work through. Look at the syllables, look at the rhyme scheme. I've got a ballad that I wrote last year that I will show you as well. But let's do just a quick read through, and then we'll go through and count some syllables. So it says, though I am old and wandering through hollow hilly lands, I will find out where she is gone and kiss her lips and hands, and walk along long dappled grass and pluck till time is done the silver apples of the moon and gold pears of the sun. Okay? So you see how that's kind of a story. You got this old guy wandering, okay, trying to find his lady love, and he's going to walk in sunlight and the moonlight until he finds her. But let's take a look at the more technical aspects, okay, and count some syllables. Though I am old and wandering, be 8, through hollow hilly lands, 6. I will find out where she has gone, 8, and kiss her lips and hands, 6. And walk along long dappled grass, 8, and pluck till time is done, 6. The silver apples of the moon, 8, and gold pears of the sun, 6. So 8-6, 8-6, 8-6, 8-6, long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. Okay. It's going to have a very dignified kind of fluidity to it, I guess. In the same way that the haikus were very calming, right? The nature poems, it's very paint a picture for me. In the same way that the limericks were kind of funny, kind of bawdy. A lot of you guys, when you were writing limericks, were like, well, I think this sounds dumb. And that's just because limericks are often silly and sing-songy. Ballads will be fluid. Okay, that long, short, long, short. Let's look at the rhyme scheme. Okay, we got wandering, A, lands, B, gone, C, hands, B. Okay. And then this one, we've got grass, D, done, E, moon, F, sun, E. Done and sun rhyme. Okay. Grass and moon do not rhyme, so they followed that A-B-C-B rhyme scheme. And like I said, I think that's the easier of the 2. The most important thing to remember is that the short lines have to rhyme. Okay? The longer lines, you've got some leeway. You can go back and forth if you need to, but the shorter lines have to rhyme. I'm going to show you an example from last year. I came to school on crutches one day, the day we were doing ballads. And so I wrote this, and it's called Miss Ball, What Happened to Your Leg, a ballad. I will email it to you, and you can look at it there, count syllables if you need to, but it follows that 8686 and that ABAB. Apparently I challenged myself to do ABAB, so you have a pretty good example of the ABCB over here, and the ABAB over here. And there I was on a snow day, helping my cousin move. I working hard nearly all day, then fell into a groove. We moved tables, chairs, and wood desks. The day was nearly done. You'll never guess what happened next. End result, I can't run. A record cabinet in my hands, not looking at my feet. Tendons snapped like a heavy band. The fall, it made me weep. I tripped and slipped in the driveway. We heard a heavy pop. My cousin yelled, "Are you okay?" the same time I yelled, "Stop." And down the cabinet came crashing, and now I cannot bend, teeth continually gnashing, while I am on the mend. So it tells a story about how I was helping my cousin move, and then I was clumsy, and I fell, and I hurt my leg, which they thought was hilarious because I was on crutches. They laugh at my misfortune. I do want to look at a couple of things that this author has done that I think you can do if you need to, or if you want to be creative. And the first thing I want to look at is this till. Okay, and I'll actually highlight it because I think this is a pretty sweet move. This is a contraction for the word until, okay? And pluck until time is done has 7 syllables. It needs 6. So I took out that un and then did a till, okay? And pluck till time is done. When we were writing before this all happened, I noticed that we would have like, oh, I've got one too many syllable. Oh, I've got one too many syllable. Like, take out an and or an it or an I, okay? Look at what you can remove before you go and change your line. This was a real simple till as opposed to until. The next thing I want to look at is this hollow, hilly lands. Okay, and that's just, 2/3 of that line is adjectives. Okay, they're adding that imagery, hollow, hilly lands. And over here, there was one, we heard a heavy pop. Like, how can a pop be heavy? But it makes sense. You can intuit it, right? So that was an adjective that fit there, and I opted to use it, and I encourage you to do that if you need to. These last 2 lines here as well are imagery, okay? They don't necessarily add to the story of him looking for his lady and then wandering around, but they are pretty, right? They do kind of, evoke some kind of emotion through that image, the silver and the gold. The moon and the sun, opposites and everything. So if you want to use that imagery, great. If you want to shorten some words to make them fit, also great. Please don't forget, you can always Google words that rhyme with blah. I'm a big fan of Googling words that rhyme with whatever you're looking for. If you pick words that are easier to rhyme, then, you can work a little bit easier. This is a serious ballad. This is a silly ballad. Your ballad does not have to be serious. It can be silly, or however you want to do it. I think the funniest one I've ever read was about a kid who went to Taco Bell. It was the Ballad of Double XL Chalupa. And in it, the kid went to Taco Bell, ordered Double XL Chalupa, got heartburn, and died. And it was so funny. But it followed off that 8686 ABCB. Okay, so that's what I'm asking you to do. Of course, if you have questions, please email me. I will be at my computer all day today and tomorrow for help with ballads. If you want to put it into your ebook, start with your ebook already, great, keep doing that. If you just want to email me the poem, also great. However you want to get it to me, I will check off your name when I receive it. I hope you guys have an excellent day. Be safe and make good choices.